Hey Plant Fam, I'm Daddy Plant, and I fix brown leaves, not broken hearts. Today we're talking about a plant that doesn't get as much attention as Monstera or Pothos, but honestly, it should. Meet the Tradescantia spathacea. You might know it as the Oyster plant, Moses-in-the-Cradle, or the more fun name, Rhoeo discolor, or simply Rhoeo. And here in the US, a lot of people call it by its old name, Rhoeo spathacea, or just the purple secret plant, because of those incredible undersides. This plant is a total showstopper. It has sword-shaped leaves that are dark green on top and deep purple or magenta underneath. It's compact, colorful, and almost impossible to kill. If you're a beginner, this is your new best friend. If you're a seasoned plant parent, you'll love how easy it is to propagate. In this video, we're covering everything: light, water, soil, fertilizer, pruning, propagation, common problems, and the one mistake that kills this plant faster than anything else. Let's dive in. First, let's get the name straight because it's changed over the years. Botanically, this plant is now classified as Tradescantia spathacea, but for decades it was called Rhoeo spathacea, or Rhoeo discolor. And honestly, most plant people in the US still call it Rhoeo. So if you hear Rhoeo plant or Rhoeo tricolor, that's the same plant. It's native to southern Mexico, Belize, Guatemala, and the Caribbean. It grows on the forest floor, which means it's used to dappled light and consistent moisture. But here's what's amazing. It's incredibly adaptable. It can handle full sun, part sun, low light, dry soil, humid conditions. This plant is a survivor. The common name Moses-in-the-Cradle comes from the small white flowers that grow in a boat-shaped bract, like a baby Moses in a cradle. The flowers are tiny and not super showy, but the foliage is where this plant shines. There are several varieties you'll find at nurseries and big box stores like Home Depot or Lowe's. The standard type has green tops and purple bottoms. There's a variegated version called Vittata with yellow and green stripes. And there's Tricolor, my personal favorite, with pink, green, and white stripes on top and purple underneath. Let's start with light. This is the key to getting vibrant color. Here's the simple rule: more light equals more purple. If you want those deep magenta undersides to pop, give your Rhoeo bright indirect light or even direct morning sun. An east-facing window is perfect. Gentle morning sun without the harsh afternoon heat. A south-facing window with a sheer curtain also works great. If you put it in a west-facing window, just pull it back a few feet to avoid scorching. What happens if you don't give it enough light? The purple fades. The leaves will turn more green, and the plant will get leggy, stretched out with bare stems reaching toward the light. It won't die, but it won't look like that stunning plant you bought. You'll also notice the new leaves are smaller. Can it handle full sun? Yes, but carefully. If you want to put your Rhoeo outside in summer, morning sun is great. Afternoon sun in Texas, Florida, or Arizona, that will burn the leaves. You'll see brown, crispy patches. On the flip side, if you only have a north-facing window or a dark room, your Rhoeo will survive. It just won't thrive. And honestly, if you want the color, give it as much light as you can without burning it. Quick pro tip: rotate your pot every week. Rhoeo grows toward the light, and rotating keeps the plant full and even. All right, let's talk about water. If you kill your Rhoeo, this is why. Not because you forgot to water it, because you loved it too much. Rhoeo does not like wet feet. In fact, it's very sensitive to overwatering. The roots are fleshy and store water, so they rot quickly if left in soggy soil. Here's my rule: water when the top 1 to 2 inches of soil is completely dry. How do you check? Stick your finger in the soil. If it feels dry at your first knuckle, it's time to water. If it feels damp at all, wait. In most US homes, that means watering every 7 to 10 days in spring and summer and every 14 to 21 days in fall and winter. But do not follow a calendar. Every home is different. A dry apartment in Denver with the heater running is very different from a humid apartment in Miami. When you water, do it thoroughly. Pour slowly until water runs out of the drainage holes. Then, critical step, dump out any water in the saucer. Never let your Rhoeo sit in standing water. One more thing, Rhoeo is sensitive to fluoride and chlorine in tap water, just like Dracaena. The sign? Brown leaf tips and edges. To avoid this, use filtered water, rainwater, or let your tap water sit out for 24 hours before using it. And here's a special tip for Rhoeo. Try to water under the leaves, not over them. Why? Because water trapped in the leaf sheaths, the area where leaves attach to the stem, can cause rot. This is a very common problem with Rhoeo. The leaves grow tightly together, and water sits there and rots the base of the plant. So water at soil level. Now let's talk about what's underneath. Rhoeo needs well-draining soil. You cannot use heavy garden soil or dense potting mix straight from the bag. Here's my recipe. Take 2 parts standard indoor potting mix, add 1 part perlite, and add 1 part orchid bark or coarse sand. This creates a chunky, airy mix that lets water flow through but still holds a little moisture. If you want a simpler option, buy a bag of cactus and succulent mix. That works perfectly for Rhoeo. What about pots? Always choose a pot with a drainage hole. Terracotta pots are excellent because they pull excess moisture out of the soil. Plastic pots work too, but you need to be more careful with watering. Rhoeo has a shallow root system. It doesn't need a deep pot. In fact, a wide, shallow pot is better than a tall, deep one. This matches how it grows in nature, spreading across the forest floor. How often should you repot? About every 2 years, or when you see roots coming out of the drainage holes. When you repot, only go up one size. Too much extra soil holds too much water, and you know what that means? Root rot. Rhoeo is from the tropics, so it appreciates humidity. But here's the good news, it's not demanding. Average indoor humidity between 40 and 60% is fine. Most US homes fall right into that range. But if your home is very dry, especially during winter with the heater on, you might see brown, crispy leaf edges. To fix that, you have options. Group your plants together, put a small humidifier nearby, or set the pot on a pebble tray with water. Do not mist Rhoeo. I repeat, do not mist it. Misting puts water in those tight leaf sheaths, and that leads to rot. Pebble tray or humidifier only. What about temperature? Rhoeo likes it warm, between 65 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit. It can survive down to 50 degrees, but cold drafts are a problem. Keep it away from drafty windows in winter, air conditioning vents in summer, and doors that open frequently. If you put your Rhoeo outside in summer, bring it back inside before nighttime temperatures drop below 55 degrees. This plant is not frost hardy at all. One freeze will kill it completely. Fertilizing Rhoeo is simple. This plant is not a heavy feeder. In fact, too much fertilizer causes more problems than too little. You'll see leaf burn, brown tips, and salt buildup in the soil. During the growing season, spring and summer, feed your Rhoeo once a month with a balanced liquid houseplant fertilizer diluted to half strength. Look for something like 10-10-10 or 20-20-20. Mix it at half what the bottle says. Do not fertilize in fall and winter. The plant is resting. An unused fertilizer will sit in the soil and burn the roots. If your Rhoeo is in a very bright spot and growing quickly, you can fertilize every 2 weeks, still at half strength. But if it's in lower light, once a month is plenty. Here's a sign you're over-fertilizing. The leaf tips turn brown and crispy, or you see a white crust on top of the soil. If you see that, flush the soil with plain water a few times to wash out the excess salts. Rhoeo doesn't need a lot of pruning, but a little grooming goes a long way. First, remove any dead, yellow, or damaged leaves at any time. Just pull them off gently or cut them at the base with clean scissors. Here's something unique about Rhoeo. The lower leaves naturally die back as the plant grows. This leaves a bare stem at the bottom, kind of like a tiny palm tree. Some people love this look, others don't. If you don't like it, you have 2 options. Option 1, prune the top off. Cut the stem at whatever height you want, and the plant will grow new shoots from the cut point. You can also propagate the top. Option 2, Start over with a new plant from cuttings. Rhoeo roots so easily that many people just take cuttings every year and toss the old leggy plant. If your Rhoeo gets too tall or floppy, don't be afraid to cut it back hard. It will bounce back. One warning, Rhoeo sap can cause skin irritation for some people. It's not toxic like poison ivy, but it can cause a mild rash or itching. Wear gloves when you prune, or wash your hands immediately after touching the sap. Keep this plant away from pets. It's mildly toxic to cats and dogs if eaten. This is where Rhoeo really shines. Propagating this plant is almost foolproof. You can turn one plant into 10 in a single season. There are 3 easy methods. Method 1, stem cuttings in water. Take a 4 to 6 inch cutting from the tip of a healthy stem. Remove the bottom leaves so you have an inch of bare stem. Put it in a jar of water, making sure no leaves are underwater. Change the water once a week. In 2 to 3 weeks, you'll see roots. When the roots are 2 inches long, plant it in soil. Method 2, stem cuttings directly in soil. Same as above, but skip the water step. Dip the cut end in rooting powder, optional, and stick it directly into moist potting mix. Keep the soil lightly moist, and in 3 to 4 weeks, you'll have a new plant. Method 3, division. If your Rhoeo has grown into a big clump, you can divide it. Take it out of the pot, gently separate the root ball into 2 or 3 sections, each with leaves and roots, and pot each section separately. This is the fastest way to get a full, mature plant. I personally love water propagation because you can watch the roots grow. It's also great content for YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels. One pro tip, Rhoeo propagates best in spring and summer, when the plant is actively growing. You can do it in winter, but it will be slower. Let's troubleshoot. If your Rhoeo looks unhappy, here's what's probably wrong. Problem 1. Brown leaf tips. This is the most common complaint. Brown tips usually mean one of 3 things. Too much fluoride or chlorine in your water, low humidity, or over-fertilizing. Switch to filtered water. Add humidity with a pebble tray, not misting, and cut back on fertilizer. Do 1 change at a time. Problem 2. Yellow or mushy lower leaves. If just a few lower leaves turn yellow and die slowly, that's normal aging. But if many leaves turn yellow at once, or if they feel mushy and smell bad, that's root rot from overwatering. Take the plant out of the pot. If the roots are brown and slimy, cut away the rotten parts, repot in fresh dry soil, and water much less. Problem 3. Leaves curling or drooping. This usually means the plant is thirsty. Give it a good drink and it should perk up in a few hours. If it doesn't, check for root rot. Problem 4. Faded color, no purple. Your plant isn't getting enough light. Move it to a brighter spot. The new leaves will come in purple again. The old leaves won't change color, but new growth will be vibrant. Problem 5. Pests. Rhoeo is generally pest resistant, but occasionally you'll see mealybugs, spider mites, or aphids. Mealybugs look like white, cottony spots. Spider mites leave tiny webs. Wipe the leaves with a damp cloth, spray with neem oil or insecticidal soap, and isolate the plant for a few weeks. Problem 6. Rotting center. This is the most serious problem. If the middle of the plant is turning brown, mushy, and pulling apart easily, that's crown rot. It happens when water sits in the leaf sheaths. Unfortunately, if the center rots, the plant usually dies. But you can save it by taking healthy side cuttings and propagating them. So always water from below, never overhead. Here are quick answers to common questions. Should I put my Rhoeo outside in summer? Yes. Morning sun and afternoon shade is perfect. But bring it inside when temperatures drop below 55 degrees. Can I grow Rhoeo in just water? Yes, for a while. It will grow in a jar of water for months. But it won't get the nutrients it needs, and eventually it will decline. Soil is better long-term. Why are my leaves splitting? Low humidity or physical damage. Rhoeo leaves are brittle and can split if bumped. Increase humidity and be gentle. Should I cut off the flowers? You don't have to. The flowers are small and white and appear in the cradle. They don't hurt the plant, but they're not showy. Some people cut them off to keep the plant focused on foliage. Is Rhoeo safe for pets? No. It's mildly toxic to cats and dogs. It can cause mouth irritation, drooling, and vomiting. Keep it out of reach of curious pets. All right, let's wrap up everything we covered. Tradescantia spathacea, Rhoeo, Oyster plant, Moses-in-the-Cradle, is a colorful, compact, and incredibly easy houseplant. Give it bright light for the best purple color, but it will survive in medium or low light. Water when the top 1 to 2 inches of soil are dry, and always water at soil level, never from overhead. Use well-draining soil with lots of perlite. Average humidity is fine, but don't mist. Fertilize half strength once a month in spring and summer. Propagate by stem cuttings in water or soil. It's almost too easy. Watch for brown tips, yellow leaves, and root rot from overwatering. The most important thing to remember, Rhoeo dies from too much love. Water less than you think you need to. Let it dry out. And never ever let it sit in water. If you have a Rhoeo at home, let me know in the comments. Do you have the standard green and purple, or one of the variegated versions like tricolor or vittata? Post a picture. I'd love to see how yours is growing. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe. We put out new plant care videos every week. No plant shaming, just real tips for real plant parents. Thanks for watching. Take care of your plants and they'll take care of you. See you in the next video.